Hi, I'm Dwight with Good Sounds. This is the 6th instructional video in a multi-part series dealing with theatrical sound production, and the first of several that will deal specifically with wireless microphones. Today we want to talk about getting wireless microphones ready for your show. One of the most common mistakes that we see happen over and over again is neglecting to get wireless microphones ready to be used for a production. You could even include the sound system in this problem, but since we've already dealt with speaker setup and mixer setup in previous videos, we're just going to stick with wireless microphones for this video. If you haven't seen our videos on sound system setup, gain structure, and EQ'ing, you should probably check those out. All of these procedures really go hand in hand. For so many of us, Tech Week starts on Monday, with shows opening anywhere from Wednesday to Friday night. Some may start tech rehearsals on the weekend prior to opening week, but it really doesn't matter. The point is that you probably don't have more than a handful of rehearsals before the curtain goes up on that first show. For us, there are times where we may only have 1 or 2 rehearsals to get things right. Whatever the case may be, failing to adequately prepare for tech can lead to a lot of frustration for everyone involved, not just the sound guy. Your wireless microphones are one of the most important pieces of your system when it comes to a theatrical production, and yet so many times they're given very little attention and consideration prior to that first rehearsal. Some of you may work in a situation where the wireless microphones are owned and stay permanently racked somewhere, while others, and this is probably the more common scenario, have to rent some or all of their wireless mics for every show. In either case, waiting until an hour before rehearsal starts to get the microphones out and ready will definitely leave you wishing you were somewhere else for the disaster that's about to happen. Wireless microphones can present a multitude of problems if they aren't given any attention. Constant dropout, static and hissing, cracking and popping, or no sound at all. These are all some of the issues that every one of us have faced at some point during a show. Most of them can be avoided with just a little bit of preparation. So let's look at how we can help minimize these problems. Wireless microphones operate on radio frequencies, or RF. The receiver and transmitter both need to be set to the same frequency in order for the wireless system to work. They also need to be on a clean frequency, which means that no other devices are operating on that same frequency. When you experience the microphone dropping out, meaning there are times of audio followed by a brief period of silence, or you notice hissing like interference, that's usually an indication that the frequency being used is not good. Or if the microphone is not passing audio at all, that could mean that the body pack and the receiver are not connected to the same frequency. When using multiple wireless mics, it is always a good idea to rescan for frequencies, especially if your microphones are rented. Now, most wireless systems today are frequency agile, meaning the frequencies can be changed. And many have automatic scanning, so the receiver itself can scan for clear channels to use. Start with the first microphone and locate a clear frequency. Make sure that both receiver and transmitter are set to the same one and test the mic. Don't just see if it passes audio. Take the microphone around to the stage to make sure that no issues exist with RF signal or range. Just because the mic is working beside the receiver doesn't mean that it's going to work 50 feet away. Take the mic where it's going to be used and test it there. Once you have the first one done, leave it on and go to the next microphone to perform the same procedure. Leaving the first microphone on will ensure that the second receiver doesn't choose that same frequency. Continue the process until all of your microphones are done. Now, it is worth mentioning that every manufacturer or brand of microphone has a limit to the number of microphones that can be used simultaneously within a given frequency range. You can't assume that you're going to be able to use 20 microphones that all operate in the 550 to 590 megahertz range. So if you're having problems getting all of your mics to find clear channels, you're going to want to check with a professional. You can also try relocating the receivers to a spot closer to the stage. I will tell you that wireless receivers don't like closed-in spaces, like very small control rooms that are 100 feet away from the stage on the second floor. trying to get your receivers closer to the stage area can help you avoid a lot of RF issues and a lot of headaches. So consider that option when setting up your microphones. Now, we've just touched on one issue of wireless microphones, and you can already see how difficult of a problem this can be, especially if you don't adequately prepare in advance for that first tech rehearsal. Another problem that can be frustrating to deal with is that harsh cracking and popping that we've all heard more times than we care to. When you hear those harsh sounds, it's the result of a bad connection with the mic element itself. Some of you may use earpieces, some of you may use lavaliers, some may have mics where the cable detaches from the element. Whatever your situation, when you experience loud cracking and popping, you have a bad connection somewhere. It could be where the mic cable connects to the body pack, or it could be a short somewhere in the cable. Obviously, this needs to be addressed and, if possible, corrected. You may need to replace the entire microphone or perform some maintenance on it, but either way, you don't want to wait until the actor goes on stage to realize that you have a problem. There's also the problem of getting no sound at all. This could be from any number of causes, like the body pack and receiver are not set to the same frequency. It could mean that the earpiece or the lavalier are no longer working. It could also mean that there are some problems beyond the microphones, like settings on the mixing console are not correct, or the cable connecting the receiver to the mixer is faulty. But whatever the problem, it can almost always be corrected by spending some time in advance of that first rehearsal preparing your wireless microphones and getting them ready for use. Join us for our next video, where we will talk about managing the process of getting actors mic'd for rehearsals and shows. You can always check us out on Facebook or at goodsounddesign.com. If you need some assistance in setting up your wireless microphones, or need to rent or purchase wireless microphones for your show or venue, please let us know. We carry most major brands. And as always, thanks for joining us here at Good Sounds. And remember, if it can't be heard, it can't be good.